When was the last time someone asked you what you actually like to do for fun and you had an immediate response? Not what your kids like, not what your family does together, what you like. If you just felt a little uncertain because you honestly can't remember, you're exactly who I'm talking to today. Because somewhere between serving everyone else and being the person everyone counts on, you disappeared. And I'm going to show you why getting yourself back isn't selfish. It's actually the most loving thing that you can do for your family. Today, we're going to talk about the identity crisis that's stealing your joy and sabotaging your family's future, plus the biblical roadmap to finding your way back to who God created you to be. Welcome to Strength for Generations, the go-to podcast for Christian families who want to build strength, restore energy, and deepen connection with God at the center. I'm Krista Baker, Christian health coach, wife, mom, and co-founder of Baker Family Fitness. I'm here to help you honor God with your health and bring peace back to the process, to simplify what it means to build strength in your body, renew your mind, and care for your spirit, all without losing precious time with your family. So grab your coffee and your ribeye, and let's do this His way. Before we dive into today's topic, I want to ask you something. If this podcast has been a source of strength or clarity in your life, would you take a moment to hit that subscribe button? Here's why this matters more than you might think. Every time you subscribe, every time you share an episode, you're helping another family build strength that lasts for generations. And honestly, that's exactly why I show up here every week. Because I believe every person listening deserves to feel strong, confident, and deeply connected to who God created them to be. So if today's episode speaks to you, share it with just one person who needs to hear it. You might be the bridge that helps someone find their way back to themselves. Now, let's talk about this identity crisis that is affecting more people than we'd like to admit. Okay, a couple weeks ago, I was sitting at my kitchen table filling out an application to join my church's prayer team. I prayed about it a lot, and I was like, I really feel like this would be a good fit for kind of where I am right now, what I'm doing, and what God's calling me to. And, at first you've got the standard questions, your name, your contact information, just a little bit more about you, all those easy answers. And then I hit this section that literally made me pause. I just stared at it. Tell us about your hobbies and your interest. And I literally had my pen just hovering over the paper and I could not answer it. I was like, I don't even know. And for the first time in years, I realized something unsettling. I had no idea what I like. I'm like, I don't know what my hobbies are or my interest. And it's not that I didn't want to share. I just genuinely couldn't think of a single hobby that was just mine. I don't want to say I like going for walks or all the stuff that has to do with all the health things that I do. Those are important to me. But like, what are my interests? What are my hobbies? What do I like to do when no one needs anything from me? What brings me joy for the sake of joy? When was the last time I chose an activity based purely on what I wanted to do? And you want to know what I wrote on the paper in that section? Actually, I should ask the pastors what they thought about that answer. I wrote helping people in that space. And that's not wrong, but it's also not really an answer. That's what I do for others, not who I am when no one's watching. And sitting at that kitchen table, I realized I'd lost myself somewhere along the way. I'm going to paint a little picture for you of what this looks like in daily life. We get in the car and everyone else picks the music. And most of the time, I don't even like what's playing. There's times where I just want to be like, I really cannot stand this music. I've gotten so good at just going along with what everyone else wants that I don't even notice my own preferences anymore. Except for on Sundays. That's the one thing we all agree on, where that's where I'll actually say, no, this is what we're listening to. And it's typically worship music because we're driving to church and that's part of our family values and everyone knows it. But the rest of the time, I couldn't tell you what I actually want to listen to. When my husband asks things like, what do you want to do on Sunday afternoon? My brain immediately jumps to what the kids need, what the household tasks I should tackle. What would help the family run smoother? What do I need to do in my business? It doesn't even occur to me to think about what actually might bring me joy. A few months ago, I had a friend invite me to join a book club. And my first thought wasn't, would I really enjoy reading and discussing books with other women? My first thought was, when would I find the time? And who would watch the kids? What if someone needs something while I'm gone? What night of the week is that going to be on? Because is that going to interfere with me having to go and do all the different things? I never even got to ask myself if I wanted to do it. Because somewhere along the way, my own desire stopped being part of the equation entirely. And that's not on anybody else. That's on me. I can tell you everything about my kids, like what they like. I could plan their day for them to just know that I've met all of their favorite needs. My husband, he'll go golf or play his bass or watch certain sports. I know what energizes him. I know what he looks forward to. I feel like I can really safely plan a day. And I do believe that my family can plan that day for me. But when it comes to me, I feel like such a blank page. And I've talked to enough people to know that I'm not alone in this. You know, the dad who used to love playing guitar but hasn't touched it in 3 years because he's always, there's always something more pressing. The mom who used to read novels but now only reads parenting articles and work emails. Or the man that had a regular workout routine that he loved but gradually let it slide because of longer work hours and family demands. Maybe the woman that used to have a craft room that's now just storage for everybody else's stuff. And here's a pattern I keep seeing. When opportunities come up to reconnect with these interests, our first thoughts aren't, would I enjoy this? Our first thoughts are, how would this affect everyone else? What would I need to rearrange? Who else needs my time more? We've become so skilled at tuning into everyone else's needs that we've completely lost the ability to recognize our own. So if you're listening to this, I need you to know something important. You're not alone. And this isn't about missing hobbies or free time. This goes much deeper than that. It's about stewardship of the person God created you to be. This is about what you're unconsciously teaching your children about adulthood. And this is about why losing yourself in service to others isn't actually serving anyone well. Okay, so I want to just talk to you a little bit about what's happening here and why it matters more than we actually think it does. First, we got to understand the mechanics of the identity drift. It doesn't happen overnight. You don't wake up one morning having forgotten who you are. It happens through 1,000 small choices that feel loving and right in the moment. Your spouse wants to watch their show, so you put that on instead of what you might prefer. Your kids want their music in the car, so that's what plays during family drives. Maybe your boss needs you to stay late, so you skip the gym again. Or your aging parents need help, so you put your own plans on hold indefinitely. Each individual choice feels very noble. Each sacrifice feels like love in action, and it is love. But somewhere in that process, the temporary becomes permanent. The exception becomes the rule. And you wake up one day realizing you haven't made a single choice based on your own preferences in like months now, years. Hear so many parents tell me, I don't even know what I like. So what's really happening underneath this pattern is when we become deeply invested in caring for others, something beautiful but dangerous occurs. We develop extraordinary sensitivity to everyone else's needs while becoming completely deaf to our own. We become experts at reading our spouse's mood, anticipating our children's needs, managing our boss's expectations, supporting our friends through their struggles, but we lose all practice at recognizing what we need, want, or enjoy. It's like we develop this incredible radar for everyone else's inner world, while our own signal gets quieter and quieter until it disappears entirely. And here's what makes this especially complicated for those of us who love Jesus. We've been taught that dying to self is a virtue, that serving others is the highest calling, that putting ourselves last is what godly people do. And all of that contains truth, but there's a crucial difference between healthy self-sacrifice and complete self-abandonment. There's a difference between serving from a full cup and serving from an empty one. There's a difference between offering your best self and offering a depleted version of yourself. So let's talk about a biblical framework that can change the perspective. When Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself, he was giving us a model. He assumed we knew how to love ourselves well. He assumed We understood our own worth, our own needs, our own design. Because how can you love someone else well if you don't really understand what love looks like? I mean, love looks like what he displayed. Let's wash the feet of our servants. But he also went and he left and did his own thing. And he took his time aside out from the chaos. He stepped away to fill his own cup. In Matthew 25, Jesus tells the parable of the talents. A master gives 3 servants different amounts of money to invest while he's away. 2 servants take what they're given and multiply it, but 1 servant buries his talent in the ground. When the master returns, he rewards the first 2 servants, but he's angry with the third. Not because the servant lost the money, because he didn't do anything with what he was given. This is about everything God has entrusted to us. Our personalities, our interests, our natural inclinations, the things that make us feel most alive and most authentically ourselves. When we ignore those parts of ourselves in the name of serving others, are we really honoring God? Or are we like the servant who buried his talent in the ground? God created you with specific gifts, interests, and passions for a reason. Those aren't accidents. They're not selfish. They're part of how you're designed to reflect his creativity and goodness in the world. When we disconnect from those parts of ourselves, we're not being more spiritual. We're actually being poor stewards of what he's given us. When you completely abandon your own interests and service to your family, you're modeling something concerning for your children. You're teaching them that adults don't matter enough to have their own preferences. You're showing them that maturity means disappearing into your rules. You're demonstrating that your value comes only from what you do for other people. Is that really the version of adulthood you want them to aspire to? Here's something else to consider. How are you supposed to encourage your children to pursue their passions if you don't have any? How are you supposed to teach them about balance if your life demonstrates complete imbalance? How are you supposed to show them what it means to be a whole, healthy person if you've forgotten to be one? And for the man that's listening, this might look different for you. Maybe you used to have something that energized you, working on cars, playing music, hiking, reading, building things, competing in sports, but gradually work got more demanding. The kids needed more from you. The house required more attention. Your parents needed more help. And that thing that used to recharge you got pushed to the bottom of an ever-growing priority list until it became just a memory. Now, when someone asks you what you do for fun, you talk about your kids' activities or your work projects. But when was the last time you did something purely because you loved it? When was the last time you felt that spark of genuine personal enjoyment? And for the woman listening, you might recognize this pattern. You used to have interests that were clearly distinctly yours. Maybe crafting, reading, dancing, gardening, learning new things, deep friendships. But somewhere along the way, you became the family's central nervous system, the one who remembers everyone's schedule, the one who manages everyone's emotional needs, the one who anticipates what everyone requires before they even know they need it. And in the process of becoming excellent at caring for others, you stopped paying any attention to what you might want to care about for yourself. You stopped even asking the question. It's almost like, oh, I'll wait until all the kids leave the house and I have a break. But here's a framework that we can use to help you reconnect with yourself. Step 1, let's start by remembering who we were. I want you to think back to who you were before you became defined entirely by your roles and responsibilities. What did you love doing as a teenager? What activities made you lose track of time? What subjects fascinated you in school? What did you dream about becoming when you grew up? What made you feel most like yourself? For me, I remember that I used to love dancing, not performing for others, just moving to music that I loved. I remembered staying up late mixing music and creating playlists that told stories, songs that I liked, not that my sisters liked or my friends liked or that were popular, just music that made me feel good. I remembered long bike rides where I could just think and go. And really, I think it was more about the distance that I could actually get to and just be able to explore. I really do remember loving exploring. And this wasn't like grand ambitions or expensive hobbies. They're simple things that connected me to who I was underneath everything else. So step 2, let's start ridiculously small. So I've done this before where I'm like, that's it. I'm going to sign up for these classes. Like, I'm going to go 3 nights a week. I'm going to do this thing because I want to go and fill my cup. We don't have to sign up for those expensive classes or commit to huge time blocks. Why don't we just start with 5 minutes? So if your thing is dancing, what if we just start with one song that you can do in your own house? Start with one small action that reminds you of who you used to be. For me, let's say I just put on some music I actually want to hear while I'm cleaning my house, not what everyone else likes. Like the music that I like, the songs that I like, that they don't probably like, but I do. Or what if I just take a 10-minute walk around the block or jump on my bike and go around the block a couple of times just because I want to, not because I'm trying to work out or make it about anything except for the fact that that's what I enjoy doing. Step 3, notice what gives you energy. So pay attention to which activities make you feel more alive and which ones drain you. It's not about being selfish. It's really about being smart right now. When you do things that genuinely energize you, you have more to give to everyone else. And when you only do the things that deplete you, you're running on empty and everyone suffers. You're going to get crankier because you're like, I don't even want to do any of these things anymore. I noticed that when I took time to listen to the music that I love, I'm more patient with my kids. My kids actually now kind of make fun of me a bit when I'll put my headphones on and I'll be cleaning or meal prepping. And I just have like this playlist that I made myself of all these 90s female artists that I just love listening to. And I'm like singing away. And it's so hard not to sing when you have the music going. And I don't have a very good voice, but I don't care because I'm having fun and it's bringing me joy. And I notice that I'm happier than around with my kids. Just remember, these little investments that we're putting into ourselves are going to help us become better parents, better spouses, just a better person because we've done something that we like. Step 4, let's protect your emerging interest. This is where it gets challenging because the moment you start reconnecting with parts of yourself, life is going to try to crowd them out again. Maybe your family won't understand why you suddenly need 20 minutes alone each morning. Or your schedule will seem too busy for that evening class that you want to take. That's happened to me many times where I've joined something, paid for it, went to the first couple, and then I was like, I can't make this Monday night anymore. Or when we make these decisions to start to do something that we actually like, it's part of stewardship and you're stewarding the person God created you to be. And He wants you to have joy. We always talk like, okay, Bailey, you've got your cheer. Daddy's going to go golfing. Casey's got her singing and she also goes golfing. And I'm like, what do I go and do? I know I'm starting to implement these like moments of putting my own music on that I like, but I know I've got a lot of work to do to figure out what do I really want to do? Where do I really want to go? I'm not sure what that's going to be. Maybe I'll figure that out soon and I'll share that with you guys. If you're here for the journey, then I'm grateful. If you have any suggestions, no, I've got to just tap in and see what it is that I can commit to. We're not just a parent. We used to have our own interest. And, I know a lot of people will say, well, I don't have time for hobbies. You don't have time to not have something that's yours. And I'm not just speaking to you guys, I'm speaking to myself as well. And so we've got to start to figure out things that are going to fill you up instead of just draining you. And what about the whole thought process I hear is, well, it feels selfish to spend money on myself because maybe the thing that you want to do is going to cost some money. But we make it possible for our kids, all their interests, activities, whatever it is that the family needs. So why wouldn't we do that for ourselves? Maybe the activities are going to cost a little bit, but our interests matter. What about the whole, well, my family needs me? Well, your family needs the best version of you, but I'm too tired for anything extra. You're tired because we're only doing things that drain you. You're not doing anything that you really, truly enjoy, genuinely enjoy. That gives you energy. It's exciting when you're like I like going to concerts. I get pumped. Concert days, I get so excited. I get so much done around my house, my business, because I know I might need to sleep in the next day. And I get really pumped and excited, or going to a sporting event. When we start connecting or reconnecting with ourselves, we might become more interesting to be around. We might have more to talk about. We might have more energy for the people that we love. Okay, so here's your homework. Step 1, make a list of 3 to 5 things that you used to love doing before life got busy. Don't overthink it. Just write them down. Step 2, pick one thing from that list that you could try again in a small way this week. Step 3, do it. Don't ask for permission. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't make it complicated. You just got to do it. Step 4, pay attention to how it feels. Did that bring you energy? Did it make you feel happy? Did it bring joy? Let me leave you with this truth. God created you as a unique person with specific gifts, interests, and passions. Those parts of yourself aren't extra. They're not selfish. They're not luxuries you can't afford. They're part of how you're designed to reflect His creativity and goodness in the world. When you ignore these parts of yourself, you're not being more godly. You're being less of who He created you to be. Your family doesn't need a martyr. They need you, the real you, the whole you, the version of you that includes your interests and passions and the things that make you light up. Because that version of you is the one who can love them best. That version of you is the one who can serve God most fully. That version of you is the one that can model what it means to be a whole, healthy person for the next generation. If this episode helped you today, I'd love to hear about it. Feel free to send me a message on Instagram, Facebook, whatever platform you prefer. And remember, your strength today builds strength for generations. So until next time, stay strong. Thanks for tuning in to Strength for Generations. If this podcast encouraged you, it would be a blessing if you took a quick minute to leave a 5-star review. It helps more families hear this message and find hope for their health and faith journey. It lights me up to know this podcast is helping you. And if you feel led to share this episode, text it to a friend, post it to your stories, or send it to someone on your heart. God might use it to encourage someone who really needs it today. And don't forget to eat steaks, lift weights, love Jesus, and keep doing it His way.